Haruomi Hosono is one of the most influential musicians in the Japanese pop music history. You might have heard his name when Harry Styles explained how he came up with the title for his 2020 album, Harry's House. Harry said, "The album is named after Haruomi Hosono. He had an album in the 70s called Hosono's House. And when I spent the time in Japan, I heard the record and I was like, I love that. It would be really fun to make a record called Harry's House." Mac DeMarco has said of Hosono's key influence on his music, saying, "Honest to God, since I heard him, I probably heard him about 10 years ago now. I've just been trying to rip him off. He's been my favorite thing to dive into, or listen to, or try and emulate for a long time. There's a wealth in terms of what I like to achieve." And DeMarco summed up how Hosono's music affects him by saying, "One thing I've taken from him is taking the wealth of musicality and making it accessible, not dumbing it down, but making it easy to digest." His wealth of musicality starts with a vast and deep understanding of Western pop music, world music, and indigenous music, and comes down to traditional Japanese music, and being able to produce all that music into accessible but not dumbing it down. His music career spans more than a half century and still keeping it going. So today, we are diving into the vibrant world of J-pop and exploring the incredible career of a true pioneer in Japanese music, none other than Haruomi Hosono. If you are a fan of J-pop, you owe a debt of gratitude to this musical genius. So let's jump right in. Hosono is considered to be one of the most influential musicians in Japanese pop music history. Credited with shaping the sound of Japanese pop for over 5 decades, he also inspired genres such as city pop and Shibuya Kei, and as a leader of Yellow Magic Orchestra, contributed to the development and pioneering of electric music. Hosono was born on July 9th, 1947 in Tokyo. His grandfather was known as the one and only Japanese passenger and survivor of the Titanic. He learned piano as a kid and started to play guitar when he was 15 years old. But when he was in high school, he wanted to be a manga artist. These are the sketches of his manga at the time. However, when he saw his high school friend Ryohei Nishigishi's talent as a manga artist, he decided to quit manga and pursue a career as a musician. His friend Nishigishi, though, would eventually become a successful manga artist. After entering Rikkyo University in Tokyo, he took up bass guitar and played in several bands. His first commercial band debut was with the band April 4. Then in 1969, the drummer of the band, Takashi Matsumoto, approached Hosono to make a brand new band, and that became the legendary band Happy End. I made a video entirely about the Happy End, so make sure to check it out. Happy End is known to be the first rock band in Japan to sing in Japanese and considered to be the most influential rock band in the history of Japanese rock. The most well-known album was their second album, Kazemachi Roman. The quality of this album was, in a sense, an indication that they fully adapted and digested American and British pop music and proved that Japanese musicians can come up with a great rock album. Plus, they also started to infuse a unique fusion of Japanese music and language. Unique pronunciation of the Japanese language can definitely give music a different twist compared to if you sing music in English. Their career lasted only 3 years. However, the quality of their albums gave confidence to musicians and producers in Tokyo and sparked acceleration in the formation of modern J-pop and J-rock amongst their peers in the music industry. Right before Happy End disbanded at the end of 1973, Hosono released his first album, Hosono House, on May 25, 1973. This album was the first of its kind when the musician recorded their album at their own home. It became the first home recording album in Japan and is regarded as one of the greatest albums in the history of J-pop. To this day, especially outside of Japan, it continues to inspire a new generation of musicians. Along with his solo project, he created a group called Timpan Alley with musicians who are also producers themselves. This was also first of its kind in Japan when producers gathered and created a band. Amongst the band was the guitarist of Happy End, Shigeru Matsumoto, and Masataka Matsutoya, a composer and producer who eventually became a producer and a husband of Yumi Matsutoya. Yumi Matsutoya, widely known by her nickname Yumin, is one of the most prominent figures in the history of Japanese popular music. I would say that Yumin is kind of like a Johnny Mitchell of Japan. Along with making 2 albums, Timpan Alley produced several singers like Yumin and Akiko Yano, who eventually married Ryuichi Sakamoto. You know what's interesting about learning about history of J-pop is that the formation of the music was all done in one city and one city alone, in Tokyo. So therefore, all of these prominent musicians are all intertwined and connected, inspiring and working together. Hence, eventually, they created what is known to be the music genre city pop. City pop because this was the pop music created all in one city and one city alone. And that is City of Tokyo. And for his solo albums, he embarked on creating 3 albums that were experimental infusion of many countries' music, from tropical music from Hawaii to New Orleans and Okinawa in Japan and China, Tropical Dandy in 1975, Boneyage Company in 1976, Palaiso in 1978. These 3 albums are called Tropical Trilogy. In the album Palaiso, his music started to use many electrical music instruments. These were the years that electric music was just starting to rise in popularity due to the rush of innovation of electric instruments. And many of them were Japanese innovation from companies like Roland and Yamaha. This album was released with the name Haruomi Hosono and Yellow Magic Band. Amongst the musicians in the Yellow Magic Band were Ryuichi Sakamoto and Yukihiro Takahashi. And Hosono, Sakamoto, and Takahashi will form a legendary band, Yellow Magic Orchestra. YMO was the first Japanese band that became successful outside of Japan. With the Yellow Magic Orchestra, Hosono wanted to break through the global market. He felt that there was only white magic and black magic, meaning the music market was dominated by white and black people, and Asians seems to be dismissed from the market. When they got together for the first time to form the band, Hosono declared the concept of the band and said to other members, "We are going to turn all the exotic music of the world into disco music using computers, and we will break through the American market." Their music became a sensational phenomenon in Japan, and to this day, their music is influencing new generations all over the world. YMO released 7 groundbreaking albums during their 5 years of career. Yellow Magic Orchestra in 1978, Solid State Survivor 1979, X Infinite Multiplies, also known as Zoshoku, in 1980, BGM in 1981, Technodelic in 1981, Naughty Boys in 1983, and Service in 1983. After massive success with YMO, Hosono created his record labels and started to release albums. He released one of his most well-known albums, the soundtrack to the anime movie Night of the Galactic Railroad, in 1985. This really shows the versatility of his musicality. He also started to compose songs for 80s big idols, teaming up with his old bandmate and lyricist Takashi Matsumoto. Hosono is known to be the only composer who provided songs for both of the two biggest female Japanese idols at the time, Seiko Matsuda and Akina Nakamori. In the 90s, he was disappointed with the capitalism and the materialistic way of life. He decided to study and create a collection of world music and devoted himself in making ambient music as well. He also created many TV documentaries, which he researched about numerous world music. One of them was focused on Japanese traditional folk music called Minyo. He believed in the idea of Minyo Renaissance. He thought that by rediscovering traditional Japanese folk songs, Japanese people can reconnect with their roots and create a new but unique Japanese music and culture. Many of us do believe that Minyo is at the heart of the J-pop music. Minyo is what makes J-pop unique and stands out. It rooted in the thousands of long history of Japanese culture. His prolific career never stopped till this day. He continued composing for many films, video games, collaborating with numerous musicians of new generations, collaborating with numerous his old bandmates. When he asked about his genius creativity, his answer was simple and humble one. He said, "I just really love music. So I listen and study so many kinds of music of the world. I am just doing what I love to do with music that I love so much. That's all I'm doing. Nothing genius about it." His contribution to Japanese pop music is enormous. He is probably the most influential pioneer in the formation of J-pop music. These are the footage of exhibition of his life in Tokyo from 2022. He continues to inspire a new generation of musicians and music enthusiasts. In the history of J-pop, Hosono is someone you just cannot miss to listen to. This has been episode 7 of the series called History of J-pop. If you have not watched other videos, make sure to check it out. In the new year that's coming, I am determined to release a new song that I wrote, recorded, produced, mixed, and mastered every single month. So stay tuned. Alright, dreamers, I'll be back in a few days. I hope you have a great days and taking a step closer to your dreams.